Alright, we're back. Part 2, finishing up our Overwatch 2 Season 2 tiered list. We finished up Tank in the last episode, but we are here to finish up supports and the DPS. So, going to start off with our support, just get right into it, because, these obviously take a long time. To make it more easier, we're going to go in alphabetical order, I guess. So, we're going to start off with Ana. Where do you guys have Ana ranked?
High A tier. She has her kit is very strong. She has her healing output is very high. But it's kind of it really depends on the aim. If you can't aim, don't play Ana. Pretty much it.
I felt that. What's it called? I have her at A as well, especially because, like I mentioned in the Tank episode, you're literally forced to switch to her if they have a Roadhog or Doomfist, because that is the only way to help counter them, especially just because of how useful that anti can be, where especially if you're in a huge group and you can get it so that you heal up your people, but also anti the other ones, very useful. And then if you're really good with the sleep darts, if you're really accurate, it's what really changes the game, and especially depending on who you're playing against in Tank, it can really, help out and sort of ease that pressure of going against a Doomfist or a Roadhog, at least this season. What about you, Don?
I put Ana on A. I feel like the amount of damage she can negate, especially when it comes to her sleep darts, can absolutely change the course, especially when she is able to cancel an ultimate, especially on Roadhogs. I feel like on Roadhogs, putting the sleep dart on a Roadhog can absolutely stop any charges or any dives that they throw down, if any last minute pushes are to occur. But then again, also long distance healing is very important when you can't reach to him in time. So Ana, being Ana, if you can aim, it's an absolute perfect selection. The sleep dart and the antis are perfect as well. However, I feel like she herself is very, vulnerable per se. If she cannot land her shots in the heat of the moment, let's say Winston just charges at her, she can't really escape in time per se, as compared to a Mercy where she could fly over to another player. But yeah, other than that, I put on it.
I feel like for those moments, you just use your sleep dart, sleep bomb, and then try to group up with your team. There's no way she's 1v1ing a tank. But at some DPS you might be able to, depending on the skill of the player, but just sleep. And speaking of sleep, there's no better feeling than when you sleep a Genji mid-ult. He's literally popping it, boom, he's disease, There's no better feeling in my opinion.
Yeah. Getting those sleeps are some of the best feelings in the world, but definitely a good pick in this current meta. Next one is Baptiste. Where do y'all have Baptiste ranked? This was kind of a difficult one for me because I really didn't know where I wanted to rank Baptiste.
I put him high B because he's a very strong pick, but I just feel like his kit is very, I don't know. It only really works depending on your comp. If you're having, if you have a lot of hit scans, his ult is very strong because all of the hit scans could use it and just completely melt whatever's in front of it. But if you don't have hit scans and you have a bunch of, you have a Mei or who else?
A Symmetra, a Junkrat,
and stuff like that. It's kind of only he can use it. His healing output is really good, but his self healing, I feel I don't know. I don't really like that because you self heal, and then it goes on cooldown, and then you still. I think all supports have self heal anyways, so it's kind of I don't know. He should have something else. And then his immortality thing is very clutch. So he's a high B in my opinion.
Yeah, I have him at B too just because, kind of like how you were saying, he's kind of a very, like, if you want to say situational pick, because especially, I think another thing too that like kind of makes me want to rank him in B as opposed to like putting him in like an A tier is that just sometimes, especially on defense, he's not the best depending on what your support duo is, because like though obviously his ult obviously amplifies healing. He doesn't really have much other than the immortality field, which has a super long cooldown. So once you use it, you're stuck waiting such a long time. So it's like if you get to those points on defense where the team is just doing ult after ult, he doesn't really have much that he can do to counter that, especially if his immortality field is on cooldown, as compared to like Lucio, who can ult, depending on how quick your Lucio is, he can ult the moment he hears an ult, and then you can get someone like Moira, obviously, who, though hers is obviously a good damage ult as well, she can use it to, do massive healing to keep her people up. Same with Zenyatta, and like, I don't know, Bap is like, he's very situational, so I have him at B.
The cool thing about Bap is like if they had like a Pharah, it's nice having like an extra hit scan. Because Pharah's really, like, if it's like one soldier against the Pharah can like pretty much kill the soldier. But if it's like a soldier and like the Bap in the back lane who's also shooting at her, it makes Pharah like less of a threat. Because having that extra hit scan. So I like him. He's like one of the cooler supports, I guess. He just needs like a little buff, I guess. I don't know. Dominic, what about you?
I feel like, the same as well. I feel like Baptiste is very situational. He's very good on specific moments. Like let's say you could combine, how would you say? Combine Kiriko's ult, and then you could throw in Baptiste's ult with his damage, field thingy, square rectangular thingy, and then you could have double the damage, and you could annihilate the enemy team. When it comes to healing, I feel like it's also very well. You could do long range healing with this grenade launcher thingy-majiggy. He has a little, the immortality field, which I feel like is just very clutch in certain moments. But if the enemy team can see it before you throw it down, if they could see the animation, they could immediately just destroy it. Like look up, just destroy it, and then keep on playing. But if they don't catch it in that time, and it constantly doing damage to you, and then Mortality Field is protecting you in the moment, I feel like it is very, very good. His damage output is not as well, but paired up with his ultimate, and I feel like it does just as good as, a proper soldier or a proper soldier. But other than that, I feel like I haven't seen that many Baptiste picks. I myself have been trying out to play as Baptiste. It hasn't played well, I'll be honest. Probably because of my skill. But I think a good Baptiste can maybe with their Mortality Field, change up the course of a game. I have to speed it up or slow the enemy down.
Alright. Moving on to our next support. Brigitte. I have her in D just because she is not a viable pick at all this season, and that hurts because I like playing Brigitte at times, but this game isn't about fun. It's about being able to freaking adapt and switch all the time, so... But she just isn't viable this season. Anytime I've tried playing her, it's literally never worked out. And maybe that's because we're running the wrong comps, but like she just literally never works out in any time I've tried to play her. She maybe works out when we're on an escort map, or not escort. Oh gosh, I forget what the mode is called. But when you have to capture that first point, she can sometimes help, with charging that first point, But other than that, like she's never had viability after that.
I played with a Brig maybe like 2 days ago when I was solo queuing comp, and like I was playing Widow because me, and then I swung out too much, and then the Zarya was trying to like push in, and I saw my Brigitte literally dashed in front of the Zarya, and I've never seen a tank back up as fast as that one. I was like, I typed in chat, Brig, you're the best, because I was like honestly impressed. But yeah, I guess in our elo, I put her at C, just because I don't know. like there are moments where like she's like the obvious pick. You know, Brigitta's like a good counter to so and so characters, but then it just doesn't work out because I don't know. Brigitta really is like depends a lot on the team, and our team is not at the level to play with a Brigitta, so you know she kind of like falls apart on her own, or if she's by herself, she falls apart because you know she only has a 250 shield, and if more than one person focus her, she's pretty much dead if she can't get away. But the good thing is that she's getting her ultimate is gonna get reworked in the upcoming seasons. Dominic, what do you think?
I put her at sea level. I feel like she has been pretty useful at some parts, especially when it throws in her ultimate. However, I feel like her little shield does very little damage to protect her, considering the other flanking side will only just hit her hard. I feel like her mace. It's a mace, right? It's a mace, flying mace. It does a good amount of damage. Not the best. But I remember the old times with the goat meta. I remember Brigitte being literally just destroying. But I think nowadays I don't really see that many Brigitte picks from outside players, mind you. But I feel like she's good. She's solid in terms of melee. So she's not the worst of the worst, but I feel like in terms of more dire circumstances, a Mercy or more would be more substantial.
All right. Next support, Kiriko. Where do you guys have her? I still have her at S tier even after everything. I don't know. This is kind of a spoiler for obviously the next year, but I think her and Lucio are still like the top picks for support so far, just because of the mobility they offer and the healing output, and obviously, you know, the fact that Kiriko has her Suzu, so she can easily just cleanse you of any antis, or heal you up pretty quickly, But I still have her at S tier.
Same. I have her and Lucio's at S tier.
Same.
Because I don't know.
Yeah, if you want to knock two birds with one stone.
Ones.
Yeah, if you want to knock two birds with one stone, the two of them are just completely like. There's a reason the two of them were so meta, especially in the Overwatch League last season. Like, it is insane the mobility not only they have, but offer specifically Lucio offers to others, and the Kiriko obviously depending on how good your Kiriko is and how good their aim is, she can literally go toe to toe with some of the DPS and help you out in that category. And as a support main. And what's it called? As a man who has like 135 hours on Lucio, I'm just glad that he has been meta these past 2 seasons, and I've just been able to play him so much. Unless Dom is my other support, then I don't get to play him at all.
Yeah, sure. Lucio, slapper, banger, insane man. Passive healing, slow, sure, but with throwing in his abilities and ultimate. I feel like he annihilates. His boops, Jack is definitely more of the one who can actually use them for like the better in terms of like knocking players off. I myself only really use it just to push people off. I mostly have a problem with when it comes to like using the speed boost and then just diving into the enemy team. But it actually sometimes actually does have its purpose in actually helping out. Like a couple of times, contesting point, stalling a bit so that the enemy, us ourselves can reach to the payload or to, like the checkpoint in time. I feel like Lucio's speed is very good in terms of dashing around, and if the enemy has really bad aim, that's perfect. Kiriko, S tier, Lucio as well as S tier. Kiriko can absolutely annihilate with her ultimate. Her damage output's not the best. Her healing is very good on the offset. But the ultimate, I feel like, can absolutely change the course of the entire game. And yeah, Power Chain.
I remember in our first Overwatch 2, I I think it was like the week after it came out. I said that Kiriko had a very low heal output. Like that couldn't have aged more poorly.
Yes.
Anyways, yeah.
And speaking of slow healing outputs, next support, Mercy. I have her at B because she'll always be a strong pick healing. She's kind of slow, but she's obviously the one that can be right there to pocket anyone at any time. Her res obviously can come in clutch. It seems to be a bit difficult for everybody who plays her because of the fact that it's a difficult thing where you have to literally stay still for so long to get the res off, and any movement can interrupt it. And we all know the struggle of going against a Mercy when they're pocketing someone and you just have them so close to death, but then here comes the Mercy, or there goes Mercy rezzing someone that you just used all your ultimates to kill. But she's not the best. I have her right there in that middle ground where she's good, but at least in this season she's not one of the top picks such as Ana, Kiriko, or Lucio still.
I also put her at B. Her res is really strong, especially on push maps, because just bringing back the tank is just you're still in the fight, or you just bringing back anyone it's really strong. If only she had her season 1 Overwatch where she could heal res the entire team, that would be really cool, and a complete game changer for Overwatch too. But yeah, she's a B.
The only reason I'm glad that that's still not a role is because I couldn't imagine playing a push map, getting a team kill, or not a team kill, but killing 4, and then the Mercy just reses them all back up. I think I'd quit the game if I had to experience that on a push map.
That would be infuriating.
What about you, Dom? Where do you have Mercy?
I put Mercy on A. I still remember the old times with Mercy's complete rezzing the entire team. Those old school YouTube videos back in 2016, 2017 with Mercy reses were absolutely insane. I remember she got an entire spray based on just her res.
The huge res one.
The huge res, dude, absolute classics. But seeing now, she can only do single reses, and it's not an ultimate anymore. Her ultimate now is she can fly in the air. However, she can heal multiple people at the same time within the same vicinity, which is pretty good. However, if she's in the air and the enemy has, let's say, a Widowmaker, she could just get sniped out and, completely cancel it. So I don't really see her being the best of the best. However, her single reses, especially as Gio mentioned with tanks, or perhaps with DPSs, if in the heat of the moment you need damage output fast, Mercy can definitely do the job. I don't think I've seen that many battle Mercies as of these days. I remember there's this one Twitter post that absolutely annihilated another team just using the ultimate with Mercy. But other than that, I have not seen much big plays with Mercy. And come to think of it, I don't think I've ever seen so far on a play of the game with a Mercy. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I put her on A.
I think I saw one. Season 1, it was just a Mercy who popped her Valkyrie and was just glocking people. And she got a few picks.
Interesting.
Alright. To speed things up, because we're already getting towards the 25-minute mark, let's kill two birds with one stone very quickly. Moira and Zenyatta. Moira, I have at B. Pretty good, but sometimes just, I don't know, depending on team compositions and what the enemy team has, sometimes not the best, but, still a good pick. And then Zen, I have Zen at C just because, I don't know, I think his slow healing output, even though he can help out, with massive damage with his Discord orb, doesn't always pair too well, especially this season. And he really just isn't that good of a support pick, especially because of, when it comes to, in terms of mobility, he literally just can't do anything when a Winston dives on him, when a Doomfist dives on him, or when a Roadhog hooks him. He literally has nothing to defend himself, even with his kick having, the knockback.
Put Moira on A. I feel like she's strong enough to compete in most lobbies. by herself. Like she has like the damage that has like infinite range for some reason. And then the Zenyatta, I put him at B because he has potential. It just depends on team composition and not getting dived on by the enemy tank or DPS.
What about you, Dom?
I put Moira on A, only because I've been seeing very good players using her, especially her ultimate, which can do healing and damage output at the same time, which I think is pretty cool. What else? I put Zenyatta on C, as you guys mentioned. Yeah, he's very slow. His damage is pretty good when he charges up his orbs. However, I feel like the healing output is not the best, and when there's a Discord orb that's thrown out to an enemy player, I feel like it doesn't really do much. I understand its purpose, but it doesn't really do much when, it's constantly fast paced and everyone's moving around very quickly. People quickly get shot off, or people, how would you say, they heal up and all that stuff. But I don't feel like Zenyatta in this case is the best of the best at the moment, so I put him on C.
All right. So we got about 23 minutes, and we got 17 DPSs to make it through. So let's just try our fastest to do this. Starting off with Ashe. Where do you guys have Ashe at?
Ashe B. She has potential. You just have to be able to aim and use your dynamite. Ashe has Bob.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that saves her from being C tier for me, and probably the better sniper out of the other, like out of all three, is that she has Bob as her ult.
I don't know about that.
She literally has Bob to help.
Yeah, I mean her ult is more useful than Widow's, but the better sniper, I just don't agree.
Dom, where do you have Ashe ranked?
I put Ashe on B. Bob is Pogu, but I feel like if Bob is incorrectly placed, he's just gonna jump off a building or jump off a cliff, and you're never gonna see him again. Her abilities are pretty good. The dynamite is pretty good. I feel like it doesn't do damage, but if you're considering the amount of damage the other players are doing, and then you have your dynamite thrown in place, you can quickly take out the enemy opponents. She has her shotgun blast, which is very good in getting out of tight situations to quickly get away from the enemy, which is good. The only problem when it comes to her is that you have to have good aim. Without a good aim, she's practically useless unless you're aiming for tanks, which they have a bigger hitbox, so it doesn't really matter where you aim, unless it's constantly for headshots. Other than that, she's good, but I don't think she's gonna really much change the course of the game unless you throw a Bob in last minute to distract the enemy while you get to go into point and then attack along, or maybe on the flanking sidelines per se. But I don't really see her being picked out as much as I should normally do, so I put her on B.
All right. Next one is Bastion. Where do you guys have Bastion at?
I put him on Broken because his stupid machine gun, it comes up way too often. I feel like it should have a similar cooldown to Mercy's Res, where if you used it, it has value, and if you waste it, then you wasted it for 25 to 30 seconds before you have it again. I think it has like an 11-second cooldown, and literally on push maps or payload, it's literally the most infuriating thing to go up against. They use it. Let's say they just chill for those till it's back up. They swing the corner, have infinite ammo for 6 seconds, can mount anyone, and then they're back at it. It should have a way longer cooldown, so it actually has value behind it, and not just let me just use it every single chance I get. And the fact that the headshot multiplier is on his back, which is near impossible to get to. I hate him. I mean, his ult is ass, but I don't know. That machine gun has to go.
Interesting. I put Bastion on A level. Personally, using him, I feel like I've been doing pretty good on him, especially on the squishies. Annihilating Monkey's shield thing, and then Reinhardt's shield thing, and pretty much practically everybody else's shield thing is very, very useful to go against. Especially when hit scanning, Pharah's in the air or Mercy's in the air. It's very useful. His grenade, it's I think it's more useful to not to be used for its purpose, like using it to launch yourself across ledges or to go on a building or that kind of ledge. But to use it against the enemy team, I rarely ever see get kills on it. I got a kill once, and that was pretty much it. His turret goes ham. I'm not gonna lie. Especially paired with like a Mercy boost, and then you could have like a Reinhardt protecting you in front. Goes crazy. But after that, nothing much else pretty much comes out of it. He's very slow on his own. I do not like his how would you say, his method of play as compared to his Overwatch 1, where you could constantly be on the turret, as compared to now where you on a 10 to 15 second just lock on just to be on the turret mode, and you have to come back, revert to just a regular Bastion with his regular machine gun, which I don't really find it as useful or as powerful. So I think that kind of sucks, considering he's a whole robot. You should be able to annihilate and stay on his turret form for the entirety of the game if you wanted to. But that's unfortunately not the case anymore. But he could still annihilate and rip apart people. But I put him on A.
Yeah, I have him on A too. His damage output is just insane, And it's very difficult to counter at times. That's why you need an Ana sometimes. But yeah, he's very difficult to kind of go against, but can be countered at times. So it's not the most difficult thing, but he's still one of like the best picks right now in this current season. Next,
add our elo.
Yeah, add our elo. Let's see, how much? 17? Okay. I'm going to throw out 3 heroes at a time just so we can quickly get through them at this point. And plus, I think these next 3 we probably won't have much to say about except for maybe one of them. Cassidy, Echo, and Genji. I have Echo and Genji at D just because in our elo, I've literally seen no one play. Like, the first, 2 days of Overwatch Season 2, we saw a lot of Genji play, but that was it. Like, ever since then, we've seen no Genji play. And anytime he has played, other than the Dragon Blade, he's been pretty much useless in those games. And then Echo, it's I don't know, I rarely see people play her. I know, kind of like Ash, she has that potential to be a strong pick, but I literally see no one ever pick her in our games.
I put Genji on A because I think he's strong. Like, going up against a good Genji is really annoying. They purposefully maneuver a certain way so they're impossible to kill, and then they get damage on you for free. So he's very strong in my opinion. Which was Cassidy, I put him on B. He's good, he does a lot of damage, but depends on your aim, and it can be kind of tricky to aim with him at times depending on who you're going up against. And Echo, I put her on C because I don't know, you just never see her in our elo. I mean, I know Diego played her once and he popped off, but besides that, it's kind of like she has potential, but no one really wants to play her or gives her the opportunity, I guess.
And then, I didn't give a ranking for Cassidy. I have Cassidy in C just because, I mean, he's a good hit to scan, but I don't see him played enough, Dom, where would you rank those 3 heroes?
I put Cassidy in B. I feel like, especially with our good friend Wilbert, has been landing his good shots very well. Playing against, I want to say his name, Cassidy. I feel like every time I'm playing Lucio and I get stuck by his grenade, I feel like I will always die by that, and it's always just it sucks having to get killed by that constantly. Not by his revolver, but by the grenade. Genji, I'm putting him at B as well. I haven't really seen that crazy Genji plays as of lately. I feel like he's going to get constantly countered in middle of his ultimate. I put Echo at D. I haven't seen that many plays from her. her well, what's it? Well, I'm not sure if they call grenades or like spray grenades or something like that, or you know those things. I could annihilate you. However, if you're a tank, it doesn't really do much, especially if you have your shield up, like Reinhardt or Winston. She can transform into other tanks. However, she does not. She could deal the same damage. However, I don't think she has the same amount of healing as the enemies do. I think, if I'm not correct. Other than that, nothing much else comes out of Echo.
Yeah. All right. Next three: Hanzo, Junkrat, and Mei. I got Hanzo at C. Just don't see him played enough, and he's not really the best, if I want to say so. Like, I don't know. We've gone against some crazy Hanzo players, but like, never really go against him. None of us ever pick him for the most part, you know. Junkrat, where do I have Junkrat? I have Junkrat at B just because, I mean, are we surprised this man just spams his bombs like nothing and can get, and his ult can literally get him a multi-man kill like at any point in the game, you know, and turn the game around just because of that one ult. And then Mei, I have her like at C, but I'd consider her like a high C, low B area just because like we see her get picked. She can obviously help out in some points, but like I just don't see enough out of Mei at times that would warrant her being, especially like one of our main DPSs instead of like a secondary one, you know.
That's an interesting take. I put Hanzo on C just because I feel like he's in desperate need of a buff. I mean his like, you know, his regular kit is fine. It's just his ultimate that needs a buff because it's really easy to avoid, and I mean like the cost for it isn't that high. Like, he gets it back really fast. But if it's not at the right angle or if it's not at the right moment, the enemy team just avoids it completely, and you have to, you know, start again. Get it. Hopefully the next one's better. Junkrat, I put him on A because a good Junkrat is impossible to kill, and defensively he's one of the best DPS. And also on A, I put Mei. She has really strong potential defensively, especially on payload, because her ultimate if it's like a good ult, you could wipe the entire team and force them to restart. Her right click is really good, like it does a lot of damage, and her slow is literally really good against certain tanks and, you know, just bullying the other team's DPS. Like, there are moments where I'm just like by myself and just, you know, just right clicking at the DPS, slowing down certain enemies. And if I get low, all I have to do is left shift. I go into my little iceberg, I heal up, and if they're just waiting for me, I just wall them off, and they've done nothing for those 5-6 seconds that they've been waiting for me to get out of my iceberg. She's really strong. Like, if they give her like any kind of buff, she's definitely an S tier.
Interesting. I put Hanzo, man, especially coming in from the enemy team. I feel like Hanzo is really powerful. His ultimate is very powerful if he does not miss and the opponents stay within the line of sight of the dragons flying through. However, I feel like every time we play against the Hanzo, he always snipes us up. And not only that, but I'm always, playing as Lucio. If I'm boosting as Lucio and I'm constantly on the move, never still, he somehow still manages to snipe me out. And, not gonna lie, that it's made me like rethink my choices in life if I can move around and still get sniped out. With Mei, I put her on B as well. I put Mei on B only because I feel like her damage output is not as strong as it was before, especially as she can't freeze anymore. However, her ultimate does obviously do the deed in terms of freezing, unless if the enemy team can just like walk away, or like if Lucio can boost them out, or like Pharah could just like jump out of there along with like Mercy to fly above. She's not as powerful as before. However, I think she's still good now. And I put the Junkman, the Junkie, the Junkrat, the Rat, El Raton in A tier only because, aside from personal bias, constantly choosing him, I feel like his his concussion mines do really well in terms of launching people out of the way or launching himself out of harm's way. His grenade launcher is not the best because obviously it's a grenade launcher. It's not a sharpshooter weapon like Soldier or Widowmaker. However, if constantly raining down, let's say on a payload, I feel like it could do really well. Up close, Junkrat is very powerful. Throwing in that concussion mine to do final blows is also very well. And yeah, his second ability in terms of throwing down the what was the trigger was it trap is somewhat useful. But if they could manage to wiggle out in time before you even get there, it's practically useless. Yeah, man.
Alright, we got like 10 minutes left, so let's really speed this up. Let's see. Pharah, Reaper, and Sojourn are the next. I have Pharah and C, just because, like, she could be good at times, but, like, there's no offense to any of our friends, but no one knows how to play her at this current moment except probably, like, Diego and, I don't know, maybe Cedric knows how to play her. I don't know, but, like, because you guys are new, you obviously have to learn all these different characters, and so it's like... And then plus I never see her on the enemy team either, so maybe it's just a thing of like there's no reason to play her at times, because when you do play her, she instantly gets countered by hit scans. Reaper I have at A just I have him at A just because, you know, he can help taking out the heavies like Winston, like Roadhog, you know, and then plus similar to Junkrat, his ult is just like time it right, you can get an easy multi-man kill. And then Sojourn at B just because she had that nerf, which wasn't too bad, but, you know, I mean, she's still probably, like, one of the most top-picked DPSs, even in our ELO and stuff, so it's, like, I don't know, she's always a viable pick, especially as DPS.
Wait, which one was the first one? Pharah?
Pharah.
I put Pharah at B, just because, I don't know, if the enemy team is, or our team, or any team is stubborn enough not to immediately switch to hit scan when you see the Pharah in the sky, the Pharah is just going to bully your squad, which has happened to us. Like, we've had, there was an instance that I can remember where Jose was he was hit scanned, and then there was a Pharah, and then his choice was to switch to a Reaper instead of staying on hit scan. You know, the moments like that, you know, the Pharah is obviously going to dominate, but overall she's a B. Reaper, I put him on S because of his ultimate. It's just way too strong. If not countered, or if, you know, perfect moment, can wipe out the entire squad. He's very strong, and he's literally like the best one to bully the team. He has like a high damage output, and if people start, you know, focusing him, he could just fade away back into his team, get healed, rinse and repeat. Sojourn is still an S tier for me because of her damage output. Her railgun comes up faster, so she could just, you know, she doesn't one shot anymore, which is tragic. But her damage output is still really, really good, like ahead of the others, in my opinion.
What about you, Donick?
Wait, it's Sojourn, and Pharah, right?
Pharah, Reaper, and Sojourn.
Oh, come on. Okay, so for Reaper, I put him in B. I put Pharah as well as B. Reaper, I feel like he's been very good in terms of taking out tanks as well as the squishies. He's always been able to pretty much do a lot of damage, and not only that, but he could use his teleport. He could also do his thing where he moves invincible. I forgot the name of the ability, but I feel like that's a very good scapegoat. Not scapegoat. It's just a good way to escape out of any situation when it gets hairy. Pharah, she constantly goes gliding up in the sky. Her ultimate is very powerful. However, it could be easily knocked out if, you know, Widowmaker just slaps her, or a Soldier or Sojourn. Sojourn, on the other side, I feel like she is on A tier for me. Only reason because I've seen other players like Jose, as Joe mentioned, to be very powerful and, you know, one shots with a railgun, or just constant damage with a regular, I guess, alt shooting thingy majiggy. I don't really see her abilities in and of itself being as useful, especially if it's coming in from the enemy team. Her what's it? I'm not sure what the ability is called, but, you know, the thing where she throws not a bubble, like a circle.
Yeah, the damage circle thing.
Yeah, that thing. You could just walk out of it, like literally just move like a couple inches to the left, and you're out of it, and it doesn't really do anything else except maybe create a bottleneck. But other than that, if you have a Mercy just healing you up in the meantime, it doesn't really do much.
Dom.
Yeah, I put her in A tier because.
All right, we have like 5 minutes left, so I don't think we're going to be able to go into detail on the last 5 or 6, I mean. So just got to give out their rankings, and sorry to those who won't be able to hear the explanation. I got Soldier in C, I got Sombra in A, and the explanation I'll give there is hack Roadhog, hack Doomfist to make them non-viable. Symmetra at B just because of the nerf she got, so she counters Reinhardt heavy. Torbjorn at C, just because, obviously his turret does most of the work, but he doesn't do much on his own. Tracer at D, just because she literally can't do nothing against, especially the bigger tanks like Roadhog and Doomfist. She'll get one shot. I'll save the last character real quick, because I want to say something different. Dom, quickly, rankings for those 5. Soldier, Sombra, Symmetra, Torbjorn, and Tracer.
Okay, Soldier, A, very good. Tactical Visor, PogChamp. Sombra, A, the hacking, Jack, that one game where you hack constantly, that one comp game, absolutely annihilate enemy team, very good. She can teleport too, also PogChamp.
Good mobility.
What's up?
No, I was saying Sombra has good mobility.
Good mobility as well. She can go invisible. Her submachine gun, not so bad. Good damage, not so bad though. Tracer, very quick on the spot. However, she is easily vulnerable if she doesn't have her things charged up in time. Her pulse bomb is not so bad as well, but it wants it to be used on just one enemy player. Torbjorn, very annoying if that turret is always up behind like some sort of, the backlines, and is protected by Torb or any other shield. I feel like Torb is very annoying, as more picked these days. However, you can get through him and you can destroy it in time. It's very a quick kill per se.
Tracer next. Tracer. We got Tracer. 2 minutes and we still need to hear Geo.
I did Tracer. Wait, am I missing anybody else? I did Tracer.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right, Geo, hurry, quick.
Soldier A, Tracer B, Torbjorn B,
Symmetra,
and Sombra C. I was going to say Widowmaker is S.
All right, Dom, say it with me to finish off the episode. Widowmaker F tier, right?
Widowmaker F tier. Down below.
F tier, bro. F tier Widowmaker.
Denial.
No, there's no such thing as now. She's literally not a viable pick.
She's always a viable pick, dude. You just can't. You guys are not good enough to, to get the value from my picks.
There's literally no value.
I literally get so many picks, and you guys just sit there struggling against a tank.
Delusional.
You're delusional. All of you guys are delusional.
Literally. Widowmaker, okay, sure. You can get a pick off at the start to make it a 4v5, whatever. Make it a 5v3.
I literally get so many picks that I literally single-handedly stagger the enemy team, but you guys lose to one tank and one support.
Because the tank oftentimes is a Doomfist or a Roadhog. And what is a Widowmaker going to do against those two beefy boys? Literally
I'm
nothing.
shooting them. Like, it's literally an entire team against 2 characters, and we can't do it. We need to stop playing. We need to find a different game, then.
No, come on, Dom. You agree with me, right? F tier for Widowmaker right here. Two against one right here. Literally F tier. Literally the only time I saw a good Widowmaker gameplay was when Diego went off that one game and got us that first point. And then he had the wherewithal to switch immediately after we capped that first point.
How we switch? What do you mean?
You literally... Delusional, folks. Delusional here. Look, even Cedric in Discord chat said it. She has a tier of her own, and just call it Geo, because that's all Geo plays at times. F tier. That being said, that is the end of this 2-parter ranking Overwatch characters. Thank you all for joining for this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.